What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about the top 5 short squeeze stocks that you need to add to your watch list going into this upcoming week. So I want to go over all the things that you need to know, but first make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So starting off with stock number 5, although not in any particular order, ticker is TYRA, so Tyra Biosciences, sitting at $21.12 over the last 1 year, up 37.5%, over the last 5 days up 32.08%, and then over the last 1 month up 43%. So a lot of good momentum there. This is some good information right here, such as market cap, volume, things along those lines, some quantitative data based on Seeking Alpha, which is good FYI if you are a kind of a long-term or wanting to swing trade it. If you're in it for a squeeze play, obviously that's not so relevant. And this is what they do on a side note. So company profile, biotech, 60 employees and so forth, but 24.41% of the free float's being shorted. Works out to be 4.26 million shares overall being shorted. Cost to borrow average kind of on the low end, 1.65%. That's an annual rate, not a daily rate on a side note. Short score 80.6, higher the number, the higher the likelihood of a squeeze happening. One thing I do want to draw to your attention, I normally don't like to wear the tinfoil hat and say naked shorting, blah, 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 but there is 2.05 million shares on loan, but yet 4.26 million being shorted. So math doesn't technically add up for that. DTC 16.83 days. So that does signal shorts are extremely overextended with this stock, and potentially kind of validating maybe the whole naked shorting bit. But DTC does factor in the average volume for the stock in comparison to number of shares being shorted. So this one definitely adds to your watch list. One thing as well I do like to bring up is available shares. And right now there's about 350,000 available shares. And sometimes if you see stocks with limited supply, you could see some buying coming from big institutions, as they love to buy a stock just to lend out. So might not necessarily happen so much in this case because cost to borrow is fairly low, but in others it might. So something just to, again, keep in mind. So this is the first stock I want to go over. Second one is ticker EPSM. So has been trading for less than a year, but over the last 5 days, it is up 129%. So a lot of good momentum for that. This is what they do. So industry is distributors, about 13 employees, founded in 2020. It is based out of China. Right now, 22.27% of the free float is being shorted. Works to be 462,000 shares. Cost to borrow average, fairly high. Again, this is an annual rate, not a daily rate, but 273.64%. And this is, on a side note, exactly what the market generally likes to squeeze. They love to, especially influencers, target these types of stocks because it is heavily shorted and it does have a low float. People love that. Aside from that though, short score 80.78, and then through IBKR does indicate a measly 10,000 shares. So this one could be seeing some buying going into this upcoming week from big institutions, just for the purposes of, again, lending it out. Moving on to the next stock, ticker is QMMM. So this one is sitting at $119 and change. Over the last 1 year, it is up a very impressive 1,700%. Over the last 5 days, it is up 25.68. So this stock is a beast. Aside from that though, this is what they do. 28 employees based out of Hong Kong. Right now, 12.4% of the free float is being shorted. Works to be 5.05 million shares overall being shorted. Cost to borrow average, it's okay, so 19.06. And then through IBKR does indicate a measly kind of about 250,000 shares. So potentially you could see some buying because that cost to borrow, it's not pennies, but it's might be enough to kind of incentivize some institutions to get in. So this stock, again, add this one to your watch list. Aside from that, moving on to the kind of second last stock, ticker NVRI, sitting at 1740 just on Friday alone. Despite all of the craziness that did happen, it went up 28.4% over the last 1 year, up 143%. Then over the last pretty much 1 month, up 35%. So a lot of good stuff. I know I do go through a lot of this information fairly fast, but if you like to look at quantitative data or, for instance, seasonality, Seeking Alpha does have a lot of good information. Plus, they have a good Black Friday deal. If you want a 7-day free trial, completely for free, I have a link to that is in the description below. So if you want to try it before you kind of commit, I personally use it for every single video that I ever do. And even aside from that, on a personal kind of viewpoint, I kind of use all of this, because if you ever want to know why a stock is going up, down, sideways, loop-de-loop, this has it, and it has links to all of the actual relevant articles as well. But aside from that, this is what they do. So it is based out of the States, environmental and facility services, 12,000 plus possibly employees, but right now 14.69% of the free float is being shorted. Works to be 9.72 million shares. No different than the first stock. You see some math not really adding up. So shares on loan 6.04, and number of shares being shorted 9.72. So another good indication of naked shorting. In shorts this case though, we are seeing it at all-time high numbers. DTC 8.13 days, again does signal that they are very overextended. Short score 63.1, and then through IBKR does indicate roughly around 600,000 shares is available. Most likely you won't be seeing any buying because cost to borrow is fairly low, and it might not be kind of advantageous for institutions to really buy just for the purposes of lending out. But I think given the circumstances, shorts are rather overextended, so you might see a little bit of a pinch. And then last but not least, ticker is SGML, sitting at 9.85. Over the last 5 days, it is up 44%, 44.7%. So a lot of good momentum. On a side note, if you are new to the channel, I generally do like to choose stocks that have some good kind of pre-existing momentum, and in many cases shorts just being overextended, and so far that seems to be holding up with a lot of the stocks I have looked at in the past. But this is the company profile. So diversified metals and mining, 589 employees, based out of good old Brazil. That's definitely on my bucket list to go to. If any of you guys have been there, let me know kind of some areas that you recommend. But 19.09% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 11.18 million shares overall being shorted. DTC not as high as some of the other ones I did bring up, but still 2.06 days is definitely still fairly high. Shorts recently have gone from about, it looks like 13% short interest to where it is now. All-time high does appear to be roughly around 23%. Not there quite yet, but still it does signal that shorts are very overdone. Short score 73.84. Cost to borrow is 13.41, and then through IBKR does indicate roughly around 550,000 shares. So let me know your thoughts on these stocks. At the very bare minimum, add them to your watch list. Again, I think just based on the pre-existing momentum, a lot of them generally do go higher, and dependent on how things play out, you could see a little bit of a pinch. So let me know your general thoughts. Hopefully everyone's having an amazing weekend thus far. One final thing, especially with Black Friday right around the corner, I did put a promotion on my stacked account. So for those of you that want some killer day trades, swing trades, pop over here. I do have a tier that is a promotional $10 a month. So definitely sign up for that while you can for the next little bit. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.